like we've been through a really long, hard winter, and fresh young leaves have not been available, and they are becoming so now. One of the people that we're dealing with today is Eva's Organics, and you have a little, leaflet from them there, and some of the ingredients that they grow themselves are this beautiful curly kale, which I also have grown in my garden, and also a ruby kale, which has a pink midrib and edge of leaves. But the one thing she put in today, Debbie Simpson, is this gorgeous fresh spinach. And this is growing not far from here at Low Luckens Farm. And admittedly they do have polytunnels, so obviously things are protected, but this is the first of the fresh green leaves that are coming. Have any of you heard of herb pudding? Yes. You must be true Cumbrians, because it's the one place that I found that herb pudding is the dish that was made at this time of the year as all the fresh green leaves were coming through. And you would use anything from spinach and nettles and something called Easter Giants. Yeah. And it was put into with barley, and it was the first injection of vitamin C that I think people were getting, and iron, and made into a pudding, wrapped in muslin and then boiled and given. When did you last eat herb pudding?
20 years ago.
Okay.
Well, when my parents, my mother used to do it and my grandmother did it.
Right.
But I remember going in the orchard to pick all the leaves.
Right.
For her, yeah.
And what sort of leaves did you pick?
Easter Giants.
It was Easter Giants.
With nettles, little nettles, fresh, young nettles. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm actually doing an evening of this sort of thing at a place called Wassenthwaite, which you must all know. In the village hall there, we're doing a celebration of a lady called Margaret who has recently died, and she used to make herb pudding every spring. And we're going to recreate a lot of her recipes for this particular evening. And I often do them as fundraisers, but on this occasion it's going to be just a celebration. I'm really looking forward to doing this in May. But we're going to make the herb puddings for that. So I've heard about it a lot. I have tasted it, but I think each one will be different every time you taste it, because of course it'll depend on what leaves are available. But so this is the first of the fresh new leaves. So in here we've got, as well as ordinary sort of lettuce leaves, but we've got beetroot leaves as well. So anything where you can get that freshness coming through, this is the time to have it. Now the other thing that I've put into the salad are walnuts and apples and celery, because they tend to be most of the year round. I have to say, our apples, we're still eating them at home, that I picked in October. I pan-fried some on Sunday night for some friends, just in a little butter, a little bit of brown sugar over the top, demerara sugar, and then squeezed an orange over it, and then threw sesame seeds over it. So they became slightly caramelised, and then the sesame seeds sort of was a nice crunch to it at the same time, so you got a bit of texture. But you wouldn't eat it as an apple, it's not good enough anymore, but they're fantastic. It's Newton Wonder that I grow. I don't know if any of you are into apples at all. Because the other thing we just have is the Northern Cumbrian Orchard Group, NCOG, that's just started up. If you're interested in apples and want to do something about knowing what's available, then have a look online. They've got a very good website. We also have Apple Day at Acorn Bank on the 16th of October. And I tend to do an apple cookery demonstration there, but that's way in the future. I've got lots of things to do before that. So, as regarding a salad at this time of the year, what I was wanting to show were the things that I hope you enjoy eating the same as I do. And I'm putting into it a local cheese. Now, this is Birdoswald cheese, which is made 6 miles up the road at Slackhouse Farm by Diane and Eric Horn. They have a small herd of Ayrshire cattle, and they milk every day, and they make cheese twice a week. So they are doing everything from start to finish, milking the animals, keeping the milk, making it into cheese, selling it on the farm. It's quite a strong cheese. It's got a good nutty flavour, and that's why I think it goes well into this. Now I know that Victoria is going to be using it in the restaurant for specials as the year goes on. So it's the sort of thing that I think you'll probably enjoy eating raw. In this case here, what we've done is just cut it up into small pieces so that we can put it onto each of the salad. But it's I wanted to show you what it looked like. A very good, well matured. I don't like using the word cheddar. It's a farmhouse cheese, but it's actually made by the cheddaring process. So if you want to know more, I have written about it in my book. And there are pictures of Eric Horn in there actually making the cheese. But I think the fact is that they're the only cheesemakers now in Cumbria who are just using one single herd that they milk themselves. We do have lots of other very good cheesemakers. We've got Thornby Moor near Wigton, we've got Cartmel down in the south, we've got somebody called Jeremy Jackson of Wintertarn cheeses, and he uses goat's milk to make a brie, and he uses Thornby Moor also use ewe's milk, which makes a very good cheese. So we've got a fabulous selection of cheeses across the county. So I would suggest you go to a farmer's market. You can't keep enough of it really, can you, to be able to sell it here, but farmers markets are the best places to go to, or Reggett on the main motorway going up and down. So, would you like to taste Birdoswald? Yes. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, just very simply, is to make a dressing. And the dressing I'm using is using Cumberland mustard. We've got so much food in this county. And here I'm going to be using it with great pleasure. Cumberland mustard started nearly 30 years ago by Marilyn Cole and Jeff Avens, and they started making mustard as Christmas presents for friends. And the friends came back and said, "That was delicious, can we make some more?" And they've started a business, and the business is still going nearly 30 years later. This particular mustard is made up at Alston, and it has a high percentage of honey in it. And I think that is probably the key. They do a wide range. The other ones they've got here are green peppercorn, and there's one called Vulcan mustard, which is a smooth mustard, which if you like something very hot, that's the one to go for. And I think you've got a range of others.
Yes, in horseradish.
Great with beef.
And there's the whiskey one as well.
Fine.
That's quite nice.
Yeah.
Made with the garlic, horseradish, green peppercorns.
Lovely.
That's quite a variety.
I have to say, this is so good I'd eat it on toast. But when I make a dressing, a salad dressing, what I like to do is be able to put some of this Cumberland mustard in the bottom. And I always put the mustard in first because you're then going to use the vinegar, and the vinegar then disperses the mustard. So I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of vinegar. And this vinegar comes from Jane Maggs of Wild and Fruitful, and here she's using Cumbrian cider. Any cloudiness or sediment is entirely natural. That's good to hear. She doesn't actually say where the apples come from, but it's Hadrianswall country produced. So just by whisking that around separates the mustard, and that will occur with any mustard you use, so it's worth knowing. And then into that we're going to put olive oil, and you notice my very exact quantities I'm using. Now the only way to really work out whether you've got it right is to taste it. And when you're using ingredients such as these, you hardly need salt and pepper. If you notice, there's no salt and pepper on the table. And as much as I sometimes think that all the information we're sent out these days is over the top, if you are trying to cut back on salt, then that's one way of doing it, is don't buy processed food and just put in the amount that you need. But I like to see salt on potatoes, I have to say. Right, so what I will do is just taste the other end of that. That's still quite sharp. So what I'm going to do is all the other ingredients are in here, So we've got the leaves, we've got apple, we've got walnuts, we've got red onion. And we're just going to pour this around. Might have made a little bit too much there, we'll just see. Toss the leaves. And then I'm going to top it with the cheese so that if I come round and give you a little on each of your plates. Ah, good idea. Okay. I wonder if I've got enough dressing left. It's large bowls.